Good morning, good morning, good morning. Pine Grove, Missionary Baptist Church, Sunday School, here in the sanctuary, watching us on live stream. It's good to be here. Haven't seen inside the church in a while. Been out and around, over there, everywhere. But it's good to be back here to see y'all. You all still here and you look good. But know that God is still looking out for his people. Let us pray. Lord, I want to thank you for once again allowing me to stand up and facilitate your message. Lord, I ask that they hear you and not me. I ask that they see you and not me. I ask now that you increase and I decrease as I give to them what you've given to me. These are the blessings I ask in your name. Amen. September the 18th, 2022. The year is just rolling on. We started out this month. We talked about Abraham. Last Sunday, we inspiring lesson taught by Deacon Dixon. God made a choice of the younger. Well, today, we fast forward 20 years from that decision. So God has a way of doing things his own way. A way that doesn't make sense to us. Because by all accounts, Esau was supposed, by law, was supposed to be the one. But from birth, Jacob has always been trying to figure out a way to get in front of Esau. From the moment that he stole his birthright to the moment that him and his mama devised a plan to trick Isaac in his old age because she had heard the conversation that had happened that the older will serve the younger. So she did what was in her best interest to make that happen because Jacob was a mama's boy. He hung around the house. He learned how to cook and sew and do all those things. While Esau was a man of the field. That's why his father loved him. He hunted. He killed him good meat and made it for him. And Isaac loved him. But at the end of the day, Rachel and Jacob won. It got so bad that Jacob had to go because Esau was going to kill him. So she sent him to her brother Laban's house. And Laban apparently is the trickster of all tricksters. Jacob saw who he wanted. Laban said, give me 7 good years. And come to find out on the wedding day, Leah came down instead of Rachel. Jacob said, what is this? He said, look, man, I know what you've been doing. You know the law. I can't give you the younger one without the older one being married. He said, give me 7 more years, and I'll give you Rachel. He works his 7 more years, and all of a sudden, he gets her. But what happens? He can't have children. But Leah can. Jacob starts out the family. Next thing you know, and when you get a chance, go back and read it. Because out of the one that he didn't want came the lineage of Christ. The one he didn't want, Leah, had Judah. And down through Judah came David, came Christ. So of the least of these, the one that he didn't want, that was the promise was fulfilled in. So now He's done all he can do for Laban. He's got his wives. He got his 11 boys. God says, go home. He said, man, you know Esau wants to kill me. He said, go home. Go back to the land where I had promised your forefathers that you will have. So as he's going home, Laban tries to trick him again. And he flees through the night. Laban chases after him, catches him. God says, let him alone. Don't you harm him. So now Jacob is at that point where once I cross this brook, I'm going to see Esau face to face. So he's tried to give him gifts. He's even going to send his family over first. He's going to stay all by himself. While he's by himself, just like for you and me, in those lonely moments, God shows up to comfort you, to give you that peace. That's what we pick up today. He's done all this tricking. He's done all the wrong he can do. Now it's time to go home and live out the promise. Does anybody have anything before we get started? Deacon, you smile. Go ahead. All right. So the lesson today is Genesis, the 32nd chapter, verses 22 through 32. And the commentary says, Jacob is called Israel. The lesson in the Sunday school book is persevere in times of difficulty. And it reads as thus. And he rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 woman servants, his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them and sent them over the brook and sent over that he had. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him to the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. He said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince thou hast power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou doest ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life was preserved. And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose upon him. He halted upon his thigh. Therefore, the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the sinew that shrank. Genesis 32, 22 through 32. If you go back and remember when Jacob fled from Canaan out of the sight of Esau, he also had another encounter with the Lord. You may remember it. We sang a song in the old church. We used to sing, we are climbing Jacob's ladder. Well, that comes from when Jacob escaped the first time. He got tired, and he lay down to rest upon a rock. And in his dream, he saw a ladder that stretched high up to the heavens. And on that ladder, he saw angels ascending and descending, going to and from heaven. Blessings were going up as they were also coming down. So that was Jacob's vision the Lord gave him. So we sang that song to this very day. We are climbing Jacob's ladder because every round gets higher and higher. And we see the Lord going up and coming down with blessings for us. Didn't know that. So I got to study it and learn the purpose behind that song. See, you as a boy, you hear all these songs and you don't know. But as you get older, as you mature in your walk, you understand why your grandmothers and your grandfathers, your Sunday school teachers and your church leaders sang those songs. You get to reading those stories in the Bible, it makes you understand that when you're going through something, even when you're down and out and you by yourself, that is when God will step in and let you know that you're not alone. That's what he did for Jacob. He gave him these visions, he gave him these dreams, and he talked to Jacob. When did he start talking to Jacob? The Bible tells us that a man wrestled with him. It don't say where the man come from. It says the man wrestled with him. And they wrestled till the day breaketh. Why was it so important when the day broke that the man wanted to go? Why was it so important? It was God. And couldn't look upon his face. Because remember when Moses went up on the mount? Remember when Moses went up on the mount? And God just backed. And how Moses glowed so much that when he came down off the mountain, the people were scared. Because he glowed and his ambiance was so bright that the people were afraid of him. He didn't even get a chance to actually see God. God just went by. So as they're wrestling. And Jacob is holding on. So this ain't the boy Jacob, the trickster anymore. This is I'm a full-grown man now. I have responsibilities now. I got two wives, two handmaids that I got children by. I got 11 sons. I got a daughter. This is he's a full-grown man. He's 40 now, as they say. I'm a man. He's grown. He's a man. So he's wrestling with him. And all this time, Jacob wants to know what his name is. He wants to know what his name is. See, names, even though today we act like we don't know this, but names mean something. They mean something. In the Bible, when Job's kids were killed, we never hear the names of the boys. Even when he gives them 7 boys back, we don't know the names. But the names of the girls are there. Because the names of the girls, read it, study it, they all mean something. So we get our names these days and we name our kids all these crazy names. A name means something. It means something. That's why whenever he went to bless Abram, Abram's name meant exalted father. But when he became Abraham, he was the father of all nations. See, that name meant something. Why was Isaac named Isaac? Because when the Lord appeared to Abram, came to visit, he said, even though you are old, I'm going to give you a son. He waited 25 years for that promise. And when he come to him, and when he was 90, Sarah heard the conversation, and Sarah laughed. Even though Abram laughed before, Sarah laughed now. And said, how can a woman like me, beyond my years, give birth to a child? And God asked Abram, why did Sarah laugh? And Abram said, why did you laugh? She said, I didn't. But she laughed. So her name gets changed. And she said, God said, when this boy is born, his name will be Isaac. You know why? Because I'm God, and I'm going to have the last laugh. So Isaac means, so God laughed. The name means something. Jacob's name. Anybody know what Jacob's name means? Trickster, supplanter, one who grabbeth the heel. So when the angel, or when we know who is God, is wrestling with him, and he asked him, what is your name? One time, Jacob was upfront and honest. He said, my name is Jacob. Because when he went in to his father in his old age, who did he tell his father he was? He told his father he was Esau. Isaac can't see. So Isaac said, the voice sounds like Jacob, but the body and the hair feels like Esau. So the one time when God says, what is your name? He said, my name is Jacob. As they're wrestling, my name is Jacob. And that's when God knew I can now use him. I have broke him to the point where he told me the truth and he's ready to go through with the covenant. See, that's what God does to us. When you wrestling with something and it's just on you and you can't get it off of you and it still keeps coming back and you still bothered by it, that's you wrestling with the Lord. The Lord is putting you, getting you ready for what's about to come. And before he can allow it to come in your life, before he can send his blessings to you, he has to break you. He has to get you down to the point where you have nothing else you can call on, no one else you can depend on. Your smarts can't get yourself out of it. You got to have him, and him only can get you out. You can't give credit to your doctors. You can't give credit to your teachers, to your family members. You can only give credit to God because you knew in that moment only God could have got me out of what I was in. So he had to break him. He broke him physically as well. Caused his hip to come out of place because he needed Jacob to let him go. But Jacob held on. He held on until he could not, until even the Lord said, I'm going to change your name. You will no longer be called that trickster. You will no longer be remembered as being the one who cons people. Your name now will be Israel. And in Israel, I will continue through with my promise that I made to your father and your father's father. You will be great. Because see, nowhere in the Bible do you see Abraham, Isaac, and Esau in the lineage. It's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's how it is in the Bible. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now Jacob, being a man, has accepted his call. And the Lord had one final test for him where he had to break him. Walk with a limp for the rest of his days. But to him, that limp meant something. Because he knew that at that moment, he has seen God. And everybody knows once you come in an encounter with the Lord, you will never be the same. Not physically, not mentally, not emotionally, not socially, especially not spiritually. But you will never be the same. And at that moment, he changed. He changed. And we all know the story of Jacob. He goes on, and Joseph right now is the baby boy. God blesses him with a 12th. Gives him Benjamin. Jacob said, he gave me a son in my old age. After he sends his family over, he sends all his goods over, he sends Esau gifts. 20 years later, he goes over and he meets Esau. I know this ain't in the lesson, but we Bible scholars here. We've read this before. He goes over, he meets Esau. Not knowing what to expect, but he goes over to meet Esau. And he falls down and he worships him. Because even though Jacob now is the son of promise, Jacob is still an inferior to Esau. Because Esau is still oldest. So Jacob did the best thing he could do in a situation that he was in, knowing how wrong he had done him through all those years. He fell down and gave him reverence. Because Esau was due just that. Esau picked him up, hugged him. Because Jacob was promised. He was in the lineage. The lineage went through Jacob. To this very day, the beef that them two boys had is still going on over that birthright in the Middle East. To this very day, it's still going on. Even though the brothers made amends, but if you read the Bible, there's all kind of wars that go on between the heirs of Jacob and the heirs of Esau. One of my favorite ones is Jehoshaphat. Through the story, he's through the lineage of Jacob. He's going to get in a fight. He's worried that because the Edomites are coming, and we know the Edomites are from the people of Esau. Children of Mount Seir, Esau. They're coming to get him. He's worried. And Jehaziel, the Lord came through Jehaziel and said, why are you worried? This battle is not yours. It's of the Lord. The next thing you know, he falls asleep. And after he falls asleep, people that were after him warred with each other and killed each other. By the time he got down there to fight, he had won the war without even throwing a punch. Took him 3 days to collect the spoils of the war. To this very day, that birthright is still a problem in this world. But the brothers made amends. The brothers did what we're supposed to do when we have an ought with our fellow man. Some people hold grudges for years and take them to the grave. That's not how we're supposed to live. This lesson today, if anything, shows us nothing was more important than having the lineage of Jesus pass through you. But Esau forgave. If Esau can forgive, we can forgive. People are going to wrong you. People are going to cross you. We don't know why. I mean, they crossed Jesus, and Jesus never did a thing. So what makes us any different? One thing we can learn from this is we hang on. Don't let God go. Struggle with him till the day break. He'll bless you. Hang on. Deal with the adversity, because in that adversity grows your faith. And when your faith grows, that's God breaking you. And that's God getting you to the point where you can rely on him and him only. Because there's going to be another trial that's going to come. And that next trial, you're going to use the previous trial's experiences, the previous faith that you gained from that trial to get you through the next one. That's how faith works. It works when you put it to use. We pray for more faith. But the only way you're going to get more faith is you got to use it. You got to be put in a situation where your faith can be strengthened. It just doesn't happen overnight. It comes through trials and tribulations that we go through in life. Same way Jacob learned. I can run from my brother Esau. I can get away. I can run to my Uncle Laban's house. I can work. I can get tricked. I can even get away from Laban. But the one person you cannot run from is God. Because at some point, he's going to get you in a place where it's just you and you alone. You ain't going to be able to go over him. You ain't going to be able to go under him. You ain't going to be able to go around him. You're going to have to walk right to him. The only way you're going to get through that is you're going to have to lean and wrestle with God. And God will bless you. He will bless you. If you just learn to lean and trust in him, he will bless you. Does anybody have any comments? Bless you.
I kind of want to hold my peace. But one thing, if we learn anything from this lesson, is that whatever God has for us, we don't have to trick somebody to get it. Just be, we do all kind of things trying to get somewhere. But if God has it for us, we'll get it. It's already planned for him to be where he is at the end. But he started off the wrong way. God had already said what was going to happen. And if you just wait on him, he's going to work it out. But when he got back, coming back home, one of the things, he was fear is what had it.
Yeah.
When he got out there that last night and wrestling with God, fear had it.
Yep.
Because he did not know what Esau was going to do to him.
Did not.
And he had nowhere else to go. So that's when God breaks us down. Right. We have nowhere else to go and nowhere else to turn to. Then God can use it.
And he can use
That's
you.
all I want to say. Bless you, people.
Bless you, sir. Everybody hear that? Did everybody get that? Deacon summed it up quite nicely. Whenever you at your wit's end and fear gets ready and fear has taken over, that's when God knows he has you right where he wants you. Because there's going to be something in everybody's lives. Facebook can't help me with. My mother and my father can't help me with. Deacons, you can't help me with it. My family, my kids, nobody can help me with it. But only God is going to be able to get me out. And at that point, that's when he puts his feet down and he says, I've been waiting on you to call me. All you ever had to do was ask. That's any one of us. See, that's the luxury we have that they didn't have. See, they had to go to a priest who could only go once a year. But on that Friday, when that curtain was split, we no longer have to wait. We have a direct line to the Father that we can go. We just got to go right. Go the right way. And he will hear you. He'll bless you. But only when you at your end, when your money can't get you out, your name doesn't mean anything. That point, God will bless you. He'll step in and he'll be right on time. Because you're not going to see how to get out of it. We are never going to have to see how to get out of it. We can't even tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. But we know somebody who knows what every tomorrow looks like. We just got to learn how to trust and never doubt. Because God will bring you out. Jacob saw that. Whenever God got him at that point, he saw it. He said, all right, I'm going to go home. I'm afraid. I don't know what my brother's going to do to me. But I'm going to go home. And when he went home, it wasn't like he thought. He went home, even had him another boy, Benjamin. Even when everything turned bad for that family, the famine grew in the land, Joseph restored him. He restored him. Even though his dream, his father and mother didn't like the dream, but the dream meant something. It saved him. God blessed him. Blessed him. In his old age, he blessed old man Jacob. Gave him everything that he had promised. That's right. That was considered their peak. Because at 75, Abram still lived, after Isaac was born, he still lived another 100 years. So even at 75, he had to be in good shape. Because remember, when the Lord told him to go in Genesis 12, at 75, he walked 500 miles. He ain't had no plane. Couldn't even take a bicycle. A bicycle ride is 2 days and 500 miles. But he walked 500 miles, not even knowing where he was going. Said he used a GPS, God's positional security, to get him where he was going at 75. At 75. And then when he was going to sacrifice Isaac, and I know my time is up. When he was going to sacrifice Isaac, 3-day journey, at 100 plus, a 3-day journey, At 100, you're on the other side. You waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You on a rocking chair every day on the porch. You waking up reading the newspaper. You find out what's going on. You watching the news all the time. You got grandchildren, great-grandchildren running around. You on that part of life now. You in the true golden years where all your hard work is done. You know your night is coming. And where you finna go home. But at 100, this man had a child. A bubbling baby boy. And God laughed. I bless you all. God bless you all. I pray that you all have a wonderful week. I pray that we learn to trust in God. Get down to your wits' end. We don't jump out of windows. We don't panic. We trust in God. And if we do that, He will bless us. Bless you.